We're in the kitchen today. We're going to be making some
feta cheese.
That's right, goat's milk feta cheese.
Right now we are going to get the cream. I love doing milking.
So she's going to scoop out and show them what you got. So basically, with goat's milk, it is naturally homogenized. So
and we use this.
Hang on. We need to allow it to sit in the fridge in order for the cream to separate. Now, this particular one has sat for 5 days. So you can see Alex is getting a few kind of little tablespoons of thicker cream off the top. Now you can tell them, Alex, what do we use this for?
We use this for butter.
That's right. Basically, you can freeze this. So we get a few tablespoons out of each jar and we chuck it in the freezer and then we come back to it later and make it up into some butter. Yummy goat's milk butter.
Yes. And it's super good on bread.
It is super good on bread. What's your favorite part of the farm, Alex?
Probably making the cheese and making bread.
Because you love cooking.
I love cooking. I love making dinners from the garden. It just feels so good that we are using our products that we grew from the farm.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually tastes a lot better.
It does. So when we make our feta cheese, there really isn't anything too wild and crazy to it. I don't have any special fancy tools. Basically, we'll get Alex to show you here, my black canning pot. Inside there, I have water. I'm basically using it as a double broiler. And I turn my rack that holds the jars for water bathing upside down to sit my other pot on. So that's in. My other little silver pot, nothing special. I think I got it at Value Village for a couple bucks. Sits in there. So basically the feta cheese recipe calls for, we're doing a half batch right now. So we need 8 liters of fresh goat's milk. So we're just going to pour that in. You'll need candy thermometer. Basically, we need to heat this milk to 93 degrees Fahrenheit or around 33, 34 Celsius. And then we will be adding our culture in. So we'll be back for that. Our milk has gotten to temperature. I have removed it off of my double broiler. Basically, it's pretty important that it doesn't keep rising up in temperature. So we've got the milk here. I've got my culture out of the freezer. We've got MM100. Sprinkling in our 1/8 of a teaspoon of culture. And then you're going to just slowly stir. Basically, you want to get to the bottom of the pot and bring your spoon back to the top. And you're going to slowly stir for about 1.5 minutes, give or take. I never do it timed, so whatever feels right. So then once that's stirred in, you're going to leave that for 45 minutes. And then we'll come back and put in our rennet to make our curd. All right, so our culture has been in for 45 minutes. One thing I did not mention was making sure you maintain your temperature throughout that whole time, holding it that 33, 34 degrees, 93 Fahrenheit, I believe. Anyways, so we've done that. Now we're to the point of adding the rennet. I do put in calcium chloride first. It is recommended with store-bought milk or naturally homogenized. Now, the goat's milk, you can do it without. Have not tried it, so I didn't run the gamble because I didn't want to lose all that milk. So basically, to add our calcium chloride, we have a 1/4 cup of water, just straight from the tap, and not quite full. And then I add a 1/2 teaspoon of calcium chloride to that. Just give it give it a little swirl around, and then it just gets dumped in. And then you give that a stir. You want to do sort of the same slow bottom to top motion while you're stirring. And probably, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute. So we've stirred in the calcium chloride, basically almost a minute of stirring. Then we're going to do the same process with our liquid rennet. Again, a 1/4 cup of water straight from the tap, just cold water. And then you want a 1/2 teaspoon of the rennet. And again, I just mix it in, give it a little swirl so it dissolves. Pardon me. Pour it in. Now this one, you really, with the rennet, you do want to be careful you don't over stir. 1 minute, nice and slow. Basically, if you stir too long, this goes kind of curdled milk, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. And then it doesn't quite set into curds well. But basically, we're going to stir this for about a minute, again, nice and slow, and then we're going to let it sit, maintaining our temperature still of 93 Fahrenheit or 34 Celsius for another 45 minutes or until your curd is ready to cut. So we've been about 50 minutes, and as you can see, our cheese has set. We have we're going to test it for a clean break. Basically what that means, if you put your knife in and just slide it to the side, you can see it does a clean, can you see that? You can see right down to the bottom of the pot, which means you've had a clean break. So we're now going to just slowly cut the cheese, cut the cheese, sorry. So we're now going to cut it into about 1/2 inch slices. So you're basically just straight across every sort of, I don't know, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. It's not like you have to be all that precise. I'm supposed to be doing this slowly and I'm doing quickly for the camera. Do it slower. So as you can see now, I'm cutting the opposite way. I don't know if you can see those curds starting to kind of take shape there. You want to let that sit for roughly about 5 minutes before you gently start stirring. And we're going to maintain temperature and stir for a full 20 minutes. And then you want to kind of let it sit at the same temperature for another 20 to 30 minutes, stirring it every now and then and letting it finally settle at the bottom of the pot right before we remove the whey. So we're getting to the end of the day. This is cheese making on the farm. It always seems to run late. Alex was wonderful, and she did our stirring the whole 40 minutes while Chris and I went and did some chores. So right now I'm just scooping off the whey and bottling it. We basically save that for we have 3 Kuni pigs, so they get some whey with their treats to come into their pen every night. So that's that. And then basically once I've got it down, I don't know if you want to sort of see there. There's our curds. Alex has done a fantastic job. They should kind of be about pea size or peanut, I guess. And basically I just, sorry, that's probably going to block you. They go right in, come on, out. Anyways, just like that into the colander. There we are. I usually try and kind of push them together so that, because they will form a clumped together mat. In about 5-10 minutes I will come flip that over, and in a couple hours I will chop that up and set it on a cheese board to dry. So it's been a few days and we're back here to just do our final brine mixture for our feta cheese. Basically, parts that we've kind of skipped ahead here was the initial brine soak. You really want to make your first brine, a 2-liter jug. You're going to add about 1.25 pounds of salt and allow that to sit for quite some time to dissolve. And you want to make sure you put calcium chloride in that, about 1/2 teaspoon. And that's just for your initial brine solution that the cheese is going to sit in for about 8 hours. Now, I've since then done 2 days or about 48 hours of drying the cheese after I've taken it out of the brine. And I have put it into my 1 liter. I like to use a wide mouth jar because it makes it very easy to get it out. But basically that's all. One batch is going to make you roughly 1 liter of feta cheese. And it is actually, I've been munching on it already, it is tasty enough to just eat now. So a lot of it hasn't made it into the jar. But for your final brine solution, you want 1.5 liters of water, and we want 4 ounces of non-iodized salt. It's non-iodized through the whole thing, so I should stress that fact. But anyways, we're just going to put our 4 ounces in, which is a little over 1/3 of a cup. And for the next little bit, I'm just going to keep stirring that until it's fully dissolved. And then pour that on top of my cheese, put the lid on. And you can age this if you have the ability to age it between 48 and 52 degrees. Or it can just go straight in the fridge and sit for a couple weeks and be ready to consume. I personally think it's ready to consume now, but that's just my opinion.